In Streetball, I asked you to send me some questions so we can answer it in the next episode of ISIAY. Leave your questions on the comments below, and I'll answer some of them on the next episode of ISIAY. Alright everyone, welcome back to ISIAY number 4. Again, I'm actually sort of surprised we're still continuing the series. We have had some good questions before, and we also have some pretty good questions on today's ISIAY, so let's go ahead and get into answering your questions. So our first question here is from I don't really know how to pronounce this. HFGTRDDT4E335TG. Let's just say Mr. Throwaway. Or Mr. Nonsense. Let's say Mr. Nonsense. Okay, so our first question here from Mr. Nonsense. It's actually a bridged question. We're gonna make it a bridged question since his two questions actually relate to each other. So his two questions are: can you do layup pass with other bigs that has dunking pass, like Allen, Edward, Victor? With the other one being, how do you do layup pass with Biggo? I've seen him do layup pass, but I can't do it with my Biggo. It always does dunking pass. So let's go ahead and get into the first part of the question. Can you do layup pass with other bigs that has dunking pass, like Allen, Edward, Victor? So the answer to that is no. You can't actually do a layup pass with any of those guys. For some reason, Biggo can do a layup pass. I don't know why, but he is the only big with the dunk pass ability that can actually do a layup pass. It's only Biggo. It's no one else can actually do it. It's only Biggo. Also, a part of this question is no, Allen actually doesn't have dunking pass. Allen doesn't actually have it. The only characters who have dunking pass are Biggo, Victor, and Edward. They are the only ones with dunking pass. The other characters don't have it, so it's only exclusive to those three. And the second part of his question, how do you layup pass with Biggo? It's just the same as how you do a layup pass with Natalie, or formerly May, or Silver Wolf now, or Albert. It's just the same. You tap to the basket, and then you just press pass immediately. All you have to do is tap. It may be doing dunks on your Biggo because you might be pressing it way too long. There's a possibility you're actually pressing the shoot button and then actually just tapping the pass button, but that's not actually what you want to do. For you to do a layup pass, all you have to do is tap the shoot button and then tap the pass button immediately after tapping the shoot button. That is how you activate layup pass. You can't hold it. If you do hold it, he's going to do a dunk animation. You can still do a dunking pass if that happens, but if you do want just a layup pass, you're gonna have to play and use Biggo, and then just do a layup and then pass it. Don't hold the button, just press it so the layup activates, and then you can just pass it as soon as you want to, right after pressing the shoot button or tapping the shoot button. So I hope that has been helpful, and let's go ahead and get into the next question. And the next question that we have here is from the Cupid. Well, this isn't really a question, it's an opinion. And the Cupid's opinion is, I agree Becky is the best PG in the game, but I noticed her dive isn't as broken as most people say. She usually rolls over the ball and doesn't get it at least half the time, and actually that might be skill issue on the Becky's side, on whoever you're actually watching playing Becky. That's most likely just a skill issue, or they're not quite used to using her yet, because Becky definitely has an overpowered dive. She has the best dive in the entire game. She has the best dive as a PG, the best defense as a point guard. If we're not talking about steals, she does have the best defense as well. But on the diving side more specifically, that's most likely just a skill issue. A lot of PGs, they don't really have problems diving with Becky. They get it from a mile away, and they get it first because their dive is so far. It's very much overpowered if you know what you're doing. I'm not saying you can't combat it. If you have, let's say, a Neko, and you have outstanding firefighter, and you also have wonderful dive, you definitely have a chance, even without the wonderful dive. But with wonderful dive, you definitely have a chance of getting the ball over Becky. It's not like it's guaranteed unless, it's tossed dunk, but Becky's dive is definitely overpowered. If the Becky knows what they're doing, if they can actually, use Becky properly, I'm telling you, Becky definitely has an overpowered dive. And yes, she's definitely the best point guard in the entire game. So, thank you very much for that, the Cupid. And let's go ahead and answer the next question that we have. So, the next question that we have here is from 29 Razons. If you could create a character for SBA, what would they be like? And actually, funnily enough, she's kind of on the game already. It was a character that I thought of, but it's a way overpowered version of the character that I thought of, and that character being Rika. Funnily enough, guys, by the way, I've thought about adding, this character, the one that I'm about to talk about, just about a month. I think it was a season away when we actually got Rika. So I not a prediction, but I actually sort of got what I wanted. It's just that she's way too overpowered. But yeah, a character right now that's close to what I actually wanted to have is Rika. So the character that I wanted to have is a small forward that can block immediately, and even if she doesn't get a block, even if if the enemy doesn't fake right, if the enemy's just standing there, she jumps, he or she still can actually block quickly and then land quickly. And the SF also has a grabbing block. That is the idea that I had. I wanted a character who can basically jump all the time to fakes and still immediately land quickly, even if he did or did not get a block. It's like quick block, right? Except she doesn't have fingertip block. He just has a grabbing block, and he just has a quick block ability. And that was it. That was really the only character that I wanted. A defensive power forward, or a defensive small forward, who has the ability to do a quick block where he or she can just jump immediately, and then even if he or she gets a block or not, they still land quickly. And he doesn't have a fingertip, he only has grabbing block. That was the character that I was thinking of, it'd be nice to have this character. And then we got Rika, which Rika actually on release, amazing character. She was one of my favorite, and then, the whole buffing incident happened, and now she's overpowered, so I'm a little sad about that. But When she was released, I was very happy because, like I said, that was the character that I wanted. It was just a little different, but that was the character that I was thinking of. It's just that sadly she's now a little too overpowered. So let's hope Raccoon DJ actually nerfs her properly, gives her the proper nerf that she needs. Some people out there are saying, oh, she's actually back to her old self. No, she's not. She's still overpowered. She was way easier to block back then, and she should be. She's already so good defensively. Why is she also good offensively? It's just not fair, you know? But yeah, that was the character that I wanted to add, and technically, she was, you know, sort of added. It's just not the one that I exactly wanted, but I'd say it's close enough that Rika was the character that I wanted to be added. Just make her a little less overpowered, please. So, yeah. Thank you very much for that question. 29 responses. And let's go ahead and get into the next question. So, the next question that we have here is from Kenny Rogers again. So, Kenny Rogers asks, do you know how to block hook shot of Havoc G and Silver Wolf, especially when they took shots in the middle of the court? I believe it's possible with bigs, but how about if you're using SFs or guards to defend against that shot? And as much as I want to say that, you know, I'm confident in my answer, I'm really not confident in answering this. Since, okay, so let's talk about hookshot first before it was buffed, right? When you can only really do it from close enough to the basket, but not that far off, like how much can Havoc can actually do it, or Silver Wolf. When it was only really possible to actually use it near the court, I actually was able to block it consistently because I knew that what you had to actually do, what you had to do is you had to just go beside Havoc, just to his side, not on his front, not on his back, not where he stands. You just had to go beside Havoc, and if you stand there and then he uses hook shot, jump from his side to where he's about to hook shot, let's say left or right, right? If he goes hook shot to the left, you stand to his left, and then you just block it. If he hook shots to the right, you stand to his right, and then block it once he activates hook shot. But the problem is, after the buff, that doesn't seem to be working anymore. I'm not sure. I've been trying to go and block them from left or right. I'm sticking to them, and then I'm going to the side, I'm blocking. It just doesn't seem to work. But sometimes it does work, but then sometimes what works better is if you're in front of him, or sometimes it also works now if you're actually standing directly on Havoc. So I'm not really sure what the most effective way is to block him right now. I'm really not that confident. I just want to admit that. I'm really not confident on how you can actually block him more effectively as a small forward or a shooting guard, even as a big. Really, I think the best position right now is actually in front of him as a big, right? To where the ball is about to go to the basket. That is where you want to stand as a big man, but I tried with small forwards and shooting guards. It doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. So, you know, I'm just really not confident about this one. But I guess if I could give you a tip, it's that try to make sure that you're as close as you can get to Havoc or Silver Wolf, and then try to block him from above, from in front of him, from where the ball's about to go, right? Try to block him from there while sticking to his face. That seems to be the most effective way right now. But again, I'm actually not 100% confident with this one. So, you know, just try to do that. That still seems like the most effective way to actually stop him. as a small forward or as a shooting guard. So I hope that that one has been helpful, even though I'm not too confident with that one. I hope that still helps you out. So thank you very much for that question, Kenny Rogers, and let's move on to the next question. So the next question that we have here is from Mural Lolita. So the question is, who are characters have coolest skill animation? And that's actually a pretty good question. Coolest looking, not really the most important. I haven't actually thought about this one yet. Probably one of my favorites is from one of my favorite characters, which is Nikolai, is Powerful Disturbance, you know. That ability where you just glow dark purple to intimidate your opponents and you lower their accuracy because they get nervous. That seems pretty cool to me. One of my favorite animations on the game out there. I think that one is, that one is one of the best. What else? Another cool animation that we have, sadly, it's a cool animation, but it's pretty useless. Dream Shake from Howie. Man, they really got to buff Howie and Dream Shake. But yeah, Dream Shake from Howie. That's a pretty cool animation. I like it. It's a really good animation. Again, though, very, very easy to stop. So it's a little sad right there. But yeah, that's another cool animation to have. Thunder Dunk is pretty cool. Again, pretty easy to stop. It's another sad one, pretty easy, but yeah, the animation is cool. I think Cut Dribble move actually looks pretty awesome as well, especially at level 4. You know, the way you just dash off ball. I think that's pretty cool. And probably another animation that I like to see is the let's see, I'd say probably behind the back. You know, that long dribble or quick dribble, it's pretty awesome to see, especially when it's chained with combos. It's a pretty awesome sight. I think those are some really cool animations. Those are some pretty awesome skills that you can see. But yeah, my favorite, I have to say, is Powerful Disturbance. I just love how intimidating that looks, right? Glowing dark purple. Its effect is basically lowering your enemy's accuracy because they're intimidated. Man, it's an awesome skill. I actually really like that one. So yeah, in my opinion, probably the coolest one, coolest animation, skill animation in the game, probably Powerful Disturbance. It just looks so cool in my opinion. So yeah, thank you very much for that question, Lolita. So let's go ahead and get into the next question that we have here. So the next question that we have is from Hime5985, who asks, any working emulator? The answer is no. No, they're actually blocking emulators. Not really sure why, but you know, they definitely have a good reason for that, I'm sure. Emulators, they're not really available right now. As far as I know, you can actually use PC or any other devices that aren't, you know, meant to run this game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just shutting those down. And actually, funny thing you mentioned this is a recurring bug that I'm actually experiencing right now. What happens sometimes is a bug that says equipment disabled pops up on my screen, and what it does is I can't connect to my account or to my alts without having to crash my game first. And then once I connect to an account or to an alt, I'm gonna have to crash it again to actually connect to my other alt or to my other account. you're pretty much forced to just keep on crashing your game to switch accounts. So you're gonna have to keep restarting once you want to switch this. Or if you, let's say, disconnect from the game mid-game, you're going to crash, so you're gonna have to restart your game as well. It has cost me some games, but it isn't the most game breaking. It's still just a little annoying. But yeah, that's a bug that's recurring to me, and apparently that actually shows up if you're using an emulator, which I was not. I've never really used an emulator for SBA, but apparently, yeah, that message shows up if they're actually blocking an emulator. So yeah, no, emulator is not really allowed right now, and no, there aren't really any active emulators that you can use at the moment, as far as I know. So yeah, thank you very much for that question, MF5985. So let's go ahead and get into the next question. So our next question here is from Ian Benedict, this who asks, what stats do you recommend to not fall after the enemy dribbled in front of you? And my answer to that is there isn't really a stat that you can give that reduces the chance of you falling after bumping to an enemy. There isn't really a current stat that does that. Instead, there are certain skills, and then there are also certain talents. So skill-wise, the characters who can do it, I think, are, firstly, you have Mary, of course, her smart save. It disallows that and the ball from being stolen away from you. It does have a cooldown, but yeah, it does allow you to ignore getting bumped or the ball stolen away from you at a certain time. But also level 4 of it works. I'm pretty sure David's level 4 dribble, rapid dribble move, or rapid dribble move in general, level 4 of it actually helps you not to get knocked down if you get bumped. So there's another way for that, but the only real way to increase it, as far as I know, is through affixes on clothes recasting. I don't actually remember what it was called. I think it was it was Tumblr, right? I'm pretty sure it was Tumblr, where if you hit someone while you're dribbling, there's a certain chance that you're not gonna get knocked down. I think it was Tumblr, yeah. So Tumblr affix helps you out with your dribbling. So if you actually do get, let's say, bumped while you're dribbling, you're not gonna get knocked down if you have that ability, or there's a chance you won't get knocked down if you have Tumblr. So if you're looking for just a skill in general, the best way without actually having to use a character to have it, without being forced to use, let's say, David or Dora or, Susan. If you don't want to use them, but you still want that ability to not get easily knocked down when you're dribbling and you get bumped, you're going to want to get Tumblr affix, which you can get on clothes recasting. So yeah, thank you very much for that question, Ian Benedict, and let's go ahead and get into our final question on ISIAY number 4. So our final question here comes from Emperor Style Milim. It's a pretty awesome name. So Emperor Style Milim asks, is Cher good or not? Or should I say, is Cher not good or not? Good or not? I don't know why I keep pronouncing it as Cher. I know it's Cher, but I'm sticking with Cher, okay? So is Cher good or not? And honestly, I'd say she's a really, really good SG. If you know how to use her, if you know how to help out the Cher if you know how to help her out and not let the defender or the backup defender block her consistently, if you know how to help her out, she becomes a very, very solid shooting guard. I'd say, again, she actually does retain her SS placement. Cher is a really good character, especially if you know what you're doing with her. She's actually very, very useful. Yes, I'd say Cher is a really good, or Cher is a really good character. I'd say, again, she does retain her SS ranking on my current tier list. And as long as you know how to use her, as long as your big knows how to help her out, as long as your point guard passes properly, Cher can definitely be effective. So yes, Cher, I'd say, is a good character. So there we go. Those are all the questions that we have time to answer for now. And if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and post them on the comments or in the next ISIAY post that I'll be posting on my community tab. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope that this has been helpful to you guys. I hope that it's been, somehow entertaining. And I can't wait to see you for the next episode of ISIAY, for ISIAY number 5. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll catch you on the next one.